After we create a sale, the next step in the overall Q-Floors process is invoice confirmation. That's found in the product screen. This invoice confirmation tab is on the far left-hand side of the tabs. You can use these arrow keys. If you don't see it, go farther to the left, click invoice confirmation. What we're doing here is confirming that each invoice line that needs a product actually has a product in the system. If we're just to ignore Q-Floors for a minute, let's assume we were running our business with handwriting invoices, maybe using some spreadsheets to do some accounting or some mathematical work. And when we write up a sale, we either need to run out to the warehouse to check stock, or maybe we've got a spreadsheet or a list of paper up front where we've kind of counted frequently, recently, how much do I have out in the warehouse. We would need to check that. Or we would need to get written into a list somewhere the items that we need to special order because we don't stock them or we're running low on stock. That's what invoice confirmation does for you. It's checking your stock for you to see if you have enough for a particular job, and if not, if you don't have any at all or we don't have enough, then it will help you to create items to be ordered. It's a daily task list. It's something you want to clean out every day. I would say maybe 10 o'clock, 10:30 every morning, and again 3 or 3:30 in the afternoon, I would do my invoice confirmation to create the items that need to get ordered and then order them. You want to clean this out at least once a day probably. Larger companies, you're probably working on it all day. What we see in the list is the invoice number, invoice 2, line 2, and line 1. If we scroll down, we'll see our job here, invoice 49, lines 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. We don't see any labor lines here. The next column is the customer name, and in parentheses we're seeing either a 0 or a number or the word split. Coming back to our invoice, here's the word split, here's a product number, or it's blank. We don't have a product number. If we click on that invoice, it will refresh it, and then those blanks are actually going to show zeros, which is what we're seeing over in the invoice confirmation list. Notice the status line by line. I mentioned I would point these out. Both of the pieces of inventory that I selected on this line, remember there were two pieces, both of them had a stock status. So this line is ready for installation. So is this one. This one, there's no product number. There's no product number here, no product number here. So those that have an order status. One thing I didn't point out is we can do a labor only line where we have no materials indicated at all. Type in some quantity. We're doing furniture moving in 2 rooms. Maybe in the comment section we can put customer will move entertainment center. That's part of your contract. That'll show on the work order for the installer. It'll show on the invoice for the customer. It's part of what you agreed with the customer. So the status takes care of itself most of the time. The little asterisk next to the status indicates that invoice confirmation has not been done on that line. That's all that it indicates. So in our confirmation list, if I refresh this by clicking the tab, it'll refresh the list. And I come down here, we don't see any labor lines. We're still seeing 49 lines 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's start with this first line that we created. Doing invoice confirmation is simply clicking the box. And then the software will do things for you or ask you questions to step you through what needs to be done. If we click the box here, really nothing happened except putting an X in the box. And we're confirming I'm okay with those pieces of inventory going out on that line. Line number 2. If we click the box, nothing really happens. I'm okay with that piece of inventory going out on that line. We can check off other items. and then finalize. Those drop off the list. Well, where did they go? They didn't really go anywhere in that particular case. Those products were already in the system. The product had a stock status. Maybe the product was on order, but it's linked up to be used on that invoice line, so it didn't really go anywhere. The product was already here in our on order list, or it's already here in our stock list. We're just confirming that it's okay for that item that already exists in the product screen to be used on that particular line of that particular job. Then we're left with the zeros. So let's go to this line here, product number, or line number 3. We need 700 square feet of some pad. When we click the box, we'll get a message. It appears there may be some quantity on order or in stock. It's not enough for this particular line, the 700 square feet. If we click yes, Q-Floors will automatically create a purchase order for the difference. If we click no, it'll create a purchase order for the entire quantity needed. Or we can cancel and go figure something else out. I'm going to click yes. Then it asks, should Q-Floors go ahead and create a PO for that quantity that's needed, the 286.46. We'll click yes. And when I click yes, it's going to fill in the blanks on the right-hand side here for that product. Then we get to select, like we did on the invoice line. We're going to take all of this and all of this, save and close, and we get the word split. It even put the X in the box for me at this point. I can finalize. We've confirmed that I've got enough inventory in the system to be used for that line of that job. Some of it's already here, some of it needs to be ordered, but I'm not ordering from this list. I'm simply creating items that need ordered or reserving existing stock. We'll order things later, and that'll be done when we're in the purchase orders list. I want to point out on this pad, maybe I'm going to order more pad than what it actually created. That could be for carpet or tile or any product. It created enough for that job, but when I call and order it in, I know that I'm going to order more than that. I'm going to order 5,000 square feet. What we'll have is a balance. We show down in the details section here that particular job is using 286 square feet out of the 5,000 physically that I'll order, and we'll have 4,700 available for other jobs. On to other lines of this job. Here's this Jakarta, this wood. We don't stock it at all. The style name was already in the catalog. We just don't carry it. So when we click the box here, we get this message. We saw this when we did the last line. Should Q-Floors create a PO for me? For that job, there's your side mark, sold to last name, shipped to last name, style name, color name, quantity. Yes, let's order that. We have a question. I don't see a hand.
Just unmute her and say, Amy, what's your question? Amy Allen.
Amy Allen, you have a question for us?
What is the point of invoice confirmation? That's your question.
Amy's question is, what is the point of invoice confirmation? You're going to put into Q-Floors all of your materials, things you have in stock, things that need to be ordered. Q-Floors is going to help you manage that inventory. If you carry a lot of inventory in particular, the software is extremely helpful to you to know what is out there, and not just physically what's there, but how much of it is available for other jobs. So with invoice confirmation, salespeople, as you saw, as a salesperson, you can select the product number while you create the invoice. We can then, I'm doing the invoice confirmation. That's my responsibility in the company. And here's a line. I know that we stock Pebblebrook driftwood. I can also click this line click the style name on this line, and I see here the salesperson selected product number 12 for 462 square feet. Well, I can change that. Well, I don't have enough to change, but I can switch it to another one. Let me do something here. I don't want to confuse anyone, hopefully, but I'm going to change this here. I'm going to say we ordered some really huge roll here. We're going to put, just change the quantity of that inventory. That's not a normal procedure for you. Please don't just go changing original quantities. But to give you this scenario, the salesperson selected product 12. Maybe I need to use that roll for some other purpose. I can click number 2, product number 2, and it displays it to us, and I can press the enter key on the keyboard and change the assignment. We've now moved it to product number 2. So invoice confirmation helps give you some control over which actual materials are being used on jobs. On a very, very basic level, what I said earlier is helping you make sure that there is a product in the system for this job. You don't want to get time the day before installation and realize we forgot to order this, or we don't have enough of it. That's really the main thing that this does on a very basic level, is just make sure that there is enough of this and we've got it ordered, we've got it linked up to this job, it's reserved for this job, we're not going to use it for any other job. The software now becomes your total inventory control manager. And it helps you sort out your purchase orders from your stock. What things need special ordered? What things can we just pull from stock inventory? Okay.
Joe, not sure if he's got a microphone or not. What about the side mark on the pad order? Not sure what you think.
Joe Cody's asking, what about the side mark on a pad order? I think that one that I created, if we come over here and look at our purchase orders list, and we'll see sorted numerically, the more recent items are at the top, the numbers are larger. And it created a side mark for that one particular job because I created it through invoice confirmation. And I changed the quantity. Well, you can just give it that PO number or that side mark. It came from that job. It's not going to hurt anything to leave it there, I don't think. Or you can change it yourself. Maybe we wanted to say, well, this is for stock. Even though we created it to get ordered for a specific job because we were too low, we didn't have enough. Does that answer your question, Joe? Okay.
Yes.
Joe said yes, it answers the question. Very good. Thank you, Joe. Thanks for that question. Okay, back to invoice confirmation. We'll scroll down to the bottom of our list, and we had created this wood for that line 4 of our job. Wanted to point out we were looking at side mark. Joe brought us to side mark. It creates your side mark here. The PO number that it created was the same as the line number that we're working on in invoice 49 line 4. Down here we see in the green detail section it's linked to be used on invoice 49 line 4. The PO number is just associated with that. When you call this order in, all you really need to give is that first part. I don't know that I would give the line number, every line number of my jobs to the order desk. When I call Mohawk, if I give them 3 different PO numbers, 49-4, 49-7, 49-8, I'll get 3 different reference numbers. I just give them PO 49. The last one here on this particular job, line 5, I typed in a style name and color name that were not already in the catalog, and you'll get that from time to time. You do your B2B downloads, and you're given all this list of style names and color names, and that's extremely helpful. You have your cost and the details about that product. And then these other vendors that don't do B2B, if you have the time, if you can get a spreadsheet from them, you can put a bunch of their stuff in the catalog with spreadsheets, or you put things in as you go. Well, here we're going to put something in as we go. It's not coming from B2B. It's not in the catalog. We click the box and Q4s will tell us, I don't know who makes this. It's not in your catalog. We need to select the manufacturer or create a new one. Okay, we'll do that. So it opens the catalog for us. So if we take, who do I want to put this under? We'll just put it here. And then it opens up this create new style window. Now perhaps the salesperson misspelled it, or they didn't give it enough detail, or they didn't follow the naming patterns that we talked about last time. You can change it. Alamo 2. Then we'll give some details. Style number. Remember the retail price. We'll normally leave that blank, let the price formulas give us a price. We can give it a roll cost, cut cost. Now this is some hard surface material or some carpet. Then, I'm sorry, if it's a hard surface material, then this would be what's our bulk cost and our non-bulk cost. Unit of measurement, what's the width? Remember, if it's square feet per carton for hard surface, we probably want that up in here as part of the name as well. It's extremely important and extremely helpful if you'll put that in down here. Some freight cost, estimated freight cost per unit, the backing code, what type of material is it, and then create that style. Now we're adding that particular color the way the salesperson typed it onto the invoice line. And again, we can change it if they've misspelled it or if we want to add some detail to it that it needs. And some color number perhaps. All of the other details except for SKU number came from the style. The style should be the cost point. All the colors below the style in general we recommend would be the same as the style above it. The style and the colors should all be the same cost, ideally. It works if they're not, but the idea would have them be the same. Now that we've created it, confirm this is what we want to select and use. Yes, we want to use it on this job, of course. It started from the job. Now that it's in the catalog, we get this message. Should Q4s go ahead and create the PO for us? We'll click yes, and it'll fill in the blanks on the right-hand side, give it a PO number, a side mark, a quantity. It's all there. We just haven't ordered it yet. We don't order from the confirmation list. We just create things that we need to get ordered or make sure we're reserving the existing stock products that we have on hand. And then we click the finalize button.